Hello everyone, welcome to Spectrum classes. Today in this video we are going to discuss about the nuclear shell model. This nuclear shell model is very important from the physics and chemistry point of view. Here in this video we are going to discuss the similarities and differences of nuclear shell model with the atomic shell model. And apart from that we will also discuss memorizing technique to memorize this nuclear shell model, shells and subshells, because these are very important from the competitive point of view, because several questions related to the prediction of nuclear spin and spin parity have been asked in the competitive exams. That is very important to memorize up to 50 nucleons. At first sight, it seems to be very difficult to memorize this. So here we are going to discuss very simple technique to learn that. We will start with the nuclear shell model. So in the starting, it has been observed that the nuclei which are having both proton and neutron equal to these numbers which are represented here, or either of the proton or neutron is equal to these numbers, shows extra stability in several experiments. So these numbers were termed as magic numbers, and the nuclei which are having protons and or neutrons equal to these numbers are termed as magic nuclei. And such nuclei as well as the magic numbers were explained in a well manner by the nuclear shell model by considering the LS coupling, that is spin orbit coupling. Let's start with the nuclear shell model. So here nuclear shell model is similar to the shell model of the atoms, that is like electrons. Nucleons also have shells and subshells, and each nucleon occupies well-defined energy level. And each shell is described as the energy level where particles having the same energy exist. In the shell model, each nuclei in the nucleus is considered as a single particle that moves independently to the other nucleon. So what does it mean? It means that nucleon is confined to its own orbit, unperturbed by the other nucleons present in the nuclei. And in terms of Schrodinger wave equation, it can be explained as that each nucleon moves in the same potential, which may be taken as an average harmonic oscillator potential. But here we are not going to solve the Schrodinger wave equation, nuclear shell model, but still I have summarized few points from the solution of that Schrodinger equation, because those points are really very important. If you are doing the derivations, then those points you need to consider, and that are really helpful to understand the basic concept behind the nuclear shell model. So in the nuclear shell model, like atoms, spin orbit interaction is present, and this spin orbit coupling in the nucleus is 20 times stronger than the LS coupling of atoms. Since the spin orbit interaction in nuclei result from the spin orbit part of the nuclear forces, and therefore in the Schrodinger wave equation, a term, this VLS or spin orbit coupling term, is considered. This term may be represented in different manner in your textbook which you are referring. So please relate this term with that which is given over there. But the basic meaning of this term is the introduction of LS coupling, right? So while solving this Schrodinger wave equation, this term play a vital role. Here orbital angular momentum is represented by this L, which is a vector quantity, and spin angular momentum is represented by small s, which is again a vector quantity. The spin orbit coupling in the nucleus is of non-magnetic origin, which is of magnetic origin in case of atom. So that is the difference in the nuclear and the atom. One more thing, that in atoms there is an upper limit for the azimuthal quantum number, but here in case of nucleus, no upper limit of L in nuclear shell model, right? So here you can see 1s, 1p, 1d, 1f, 1g, but in case of atom we are not having 1p. By the interaction of spin orbit coupling, we will get total angular momentum for the nucleus, and this total angular momentum magnitude is equal to the vector sum of orbital angular momentum and spin angular momentum. So here, this is the total angular momentum. The total angular momentum is quantized, and the values for this total angular quantum number is restricted. If L is parallel to S, then we are having L plus S, and if L is anti-parallel to S, then we are having L minus S value. And here S is equal to 1 by 2. So the values for this total angular momentum quantum number is equal to L plus half and L minus half. Here, in case of nucleus, this L plus half is of low energy, whereas L minus half, J value is high. In case of atoms, we are having opposite situation. So here we are having these orbitals, and in the presence of spin orbit coupling, we are having the splitting of these energy levels, right? So here is the energy levels. How we are going to draw this? So here this energy level is drawn like here it is 1p. So like here it is 1p, right? And total angular momentum quantum number is equal to L plus half and L minus half. So here for P, we are having L is equal to 1. So J value here it will be 1 plus half, which is equal to 3 by 2, and here 1 minus half, which is equal to 1 by 2. So for this 1p, we are having two different values of J. One is 3 by 2 and one is 1 by 2. And according to this nuclear shell model, we are having L plus half is equal to of low energy, right? So this 3 by 2 will be of low energy and 1 by 2 is of high energy, and this is splits in this. Similarly, you can calculate for this D. 1D 3 by 2 is of high energy, right? And for S, we are having L is equal to 0, means there is no orbital angular momentum. So no coupling is there. So no splitting will takes place. So for 1s, we are having only 1s 1 by 2 value. In this way, one can draw these splitting in presence of LS coupling. The maximum occupancy of these energy levels is again important to know. Here it is important that protons interact with protons and neutron interacts with neutron. Here first proton, and when we are filling the second proton, that will pair in this way, okay, the third and the fourth. So these are paired one by one, and they follow the Pauli's exclusion principle. So we have to draw these energy levels separately for proton and neutron. Okay, so the maximum occupancy for these states is equal to 2j plus 1. So 2j plus 1 is equal to, right, this is my j, and if I want to calculate the maximum occupancy, so 2 into 1 by 2 plus 1. So I will get 2. Here 3 by 2 into 2 plus 1 is equal to 4. So you can simply calculate, or you can use the trick that which is written in the numerator, you can add simply plus 1. Okay, so because 2 cancelled out by this 2. So 3 plus 1 equal to 4. Here 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. So 2, 4, and here 5 plus 1, 6, 2, and 4. So similarly, you can do this. So maximum occupancy is there. And now we will come to the energy difference or shell closing. So where we are having a sizable splitting of the energy levels, then we are having the shell closure. So here we are having shell closure. Here sufficient energy difference between these two states. Then here shell closure takes place. Okay. And similarly, so for more details, you can refer any of your book. There it is given. One more thing, since we are having P, D and F, so as the L increases, the energy difference between the energy levels increases. So because this energy term or energy gap is directly proportional to this L. So here on each shell closing, we are having these magic numbers. So here you can see this is 2, 4 plus 2. Here we can fill 4, 2. So 4 plus 2, 6. So this 6 from this and this 2. So on adding these two, we will get 8. Here we are having 6, as I told you earlier, 6, 2 and 4. So total is 12. So from there we are having 12. This 12 plus 8, we will get 20. Here you can think of this 1F 7 by 2 is of low energy, but it is not very close to this. Okay, so this shell is separately considered. So here this 8 plus 20, we will get 28. Whereas in the upper shell here, this G part, the low energy level of this 1G is close to this shell. Okay, so that will be considered in this shell. And if we count these magic numbers, so here this is 3, so 4, 5, 6, 2, 10. What we get? 22. So 22 plus 28, here this plus this. On adding these two, we will get 50, right? So in this way, on each shell closing, we are having these magic numbers. And since shell is closed at this number, the nuclei which are having either proton or neutron or both proton as well as neutron equal to these numbers, they are having extra stability. So nuclear shell model successfully explains existence of these magic numbers and their stability. First, memorize the magic number. Like, it is not a perfect scheme, but you can easily understand. 2, 8, then 28, then 8, 2. So out of 7 we have written 4. Right? In between this we are having 20, and in between these two we are having 50. And after this 82, so you remember this lead. Okay, lead, this is very important element in the nuclear chemistry, because out of 3 naturally disintegrating series, this is the end product, and which shows the extra stability. So here 82 and 26 both are the, so it is doubly magic nuclei. The technique which I use is 2, 8, then 28, and then reverse this order, 82, and here 208. Okay, so 208 minus 82, we will get 126. So this is the lead whole structure, and only these two numbers you need to remember, 20 and 50. In this way I memorize these, but if you find some other way you can remember which you find it suitable for yourself. Fine. Now, how to remember this, which seems to be very complicated. So no need to be scared about all this. Simple. First, what you have to do, this is write 1s, 1p, 1d, 1f, 1g, and so on. Okay. So beyond this, we are not going. And second thing is that here is my 1s. This is important. Here is, you just drop the one step, and on the third is every third step we will introduce s. So here I introduce 2s, then I drop this, then I introduce 3s. Okay, and after this 2s we will continue the same series, like here 1s, 1p, 1d. So here onwards we will start 2s, 2p, 2d, and then 2f, and so on. And here onwards we will start with 3p, 3d, right? So this is the easiest way. Here only one step you have to jump, and thereafter you will increase the numbers. So this is the first point which you need to remember. Second thing, you split corresponding to the j, so which is equal to L plus 1 by 2 and L minus 1 by 2. Calculate the value of L from this designation or spectroscopic notations, as we did in case of atoms. So you know, for S, L is equal to 0. For P, L is equal to 1. For D, L is equal to 2. For F, L is equal to 3. Right? So this P will be split into 2. This D again will split into 2. This F again split into 2. And this G will again split into 2. Now you can see one thing. Here no further splitting. In case of S, no splitting is there. We will write 1s, 1 by 2. For 2s, we will write simply 2s, 1 by 2. Okay, and for 3s, we will simply write 3s, 1 by 2. So S is simple, that will not get split, and rest of the will get splitted into 2. So here which will be of low energy, so higher value will be of low energy. So here P3 by 2 will be of low energy, and P1 by 2 will be of high energy. For D we are having 1D 5 by 2, 1D 3 by 2. For F, here is the sufficient energy gap and this shell will be considered alone. So here F is 7 by 2, 1F 7 by 2, 1F 5 by 2. And 2p 2p will be considered here. This seems to be complicated, so here from here you can see it in a very well manner. So this is 5 by 2, 3 by 2, and this is of sufficiently low energy but it is not matched with this, so this is considered separately. So here we are having this as we discussed earlier. Similarly here G is of low energy and will be considered here in this shell. So this is the shell, right? And these are the subshells, and on each shell closing we are having the magic number. Similarly here 1H will be considered with this and the high energy will be considered with other shell. So low energy values as we are moving up, that will be considered in the lower energy shells. Okay, so in this way you can memorize this. So this is very easy to understand. And the maximum occupancy, as I told you earlier, the maximum occupancy is your 2J plus 1. So maximum number of nucleons which can occupy one energy shell can be considered by this relation. Okay, so in the next video we are going to predict the nuclear spin value, and the nuclear spin value which we represent by I is equal to the J. Here J is total angular momentum quantum. I hope you find this video helpful, and if you like this, please subscribe my channel. That motivates me to make some more videos. Thank you.